Hot Springs Village Inside Out is a closer look at the greatness of Hot Springs Village, Arkansas and the surrounding areas. People, places, experiences. Hot Springs Village is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Join me, Randy Cantrell, and my co-host Dennis Simpson as we engage in weekly conversations to explore Hot Springs Village Inside Out. Today's show is brought to you by Central Arkansas's favorite radio station, KVRE. Find them on the dial at 92.9 FM. Stream them live at kvre.com. RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village. The award-winning RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village is the largest real estate office inside the village with over 30 full-time agents and support staff. Visit them to learn more about this beautiful place to solve your real estate needs. Call them today at 1-800-364-9007. Find them online at explorehsv.com. They are RE/MAX of Hot Springs Village at 1-800-364-9007 or online at explorehsv.com. Ike Eisenhower State Farm. Ike and his award-winning team have been serving the insurance needs of folks all around Hot Springs Village since 1998. Ike has qualified for State Farm's President's Club, Chairman's Circle, and Hot Springs Village Insurance Agent of the Year. Call Ike Eisenhower State Farm today at 501-984-4100. That's 501-984-4100. Find them online at ikeeisenhower.net. Call them today for all your insurance needs because, like a good neighbor, Ike Eisenhower State Farm is there.
In the rarest instance ever, we have two bass players in the same week on a show. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Dennis. How are you doing?
Doing great. I ran into Mr. Rich, and let me preface all this. Diane and I love to travel from here to Hot Springs Village. We love to go down to Beale Street. I'll tell you our protocol real quick. We go by Rendezvous and get the world's greatest barbecue downstairs in the basement. We may or may not get the etouffee. It's not as great as it used to be at King's Palace, okay? And then we stagger down the street with full bellies to either Silky O'Sullivan's or Rum Boogie. And we walked in the door one day at Rum Boogie, and there was this band playing that was fantastic. And as you do when you've had a big meal, you got to go to the bathroom. You walk in the bathroom and you run into a long-haired guy who plays the bass, and you don't know it yet. And you go, "Did you see those guys out there on trumpet? They must not be 18 yet. How on earth? They don't even shave. What are they doing here in the band?" And then Rich turns to you and says, "Yeah, I lined those up. Those are guys I get from high schools." And I about fell out of my chair. Tell me, and those kids, they have got to think this is the greatest thing on earth. They're playing on Beale Street and they're 18, right?
Right, at least, maybe.
I joked I didn't know if they could shave yet, but you made no, they're good. How do you do this? This is your mentoring program or whatever, right?
Well, our band's been a band for 35 years now. We started in 87.
And the name of the band is FreeWorld. FreeWorld. We're going to have the links underneath here.
And as it so happens, it's not only been a band this entire time, it's also been a school. You know, all the way to, frankly, the very beginning, I was in kindergarten in FreeWorld School. I was the least knowledgeable of all the people in the band. We were a bunch of young college, they were a bunch of young college jazz bow wannabes. I was I played in a local, I guess sort of R&B rock band kind of thing. But we decided we wanted to put a band together, and we went to find Dr. Herman Green, who was the preeminent jazz blues saxophone master on Beale Street. We approached him and said, hey, we want to start. We even knew back then, you want to have a band, you need to have somebody in the band with some kind of credibility, right? So we went to Herman and said, hey, man, we're going to start a band and we want you to start the band with us. And he looked us up and down and went, well, I will do this, but you got to be serious about the music. It's like, oh, yes, sir. Okay. You know what? And so he started off mentoring us. We were, you know, not just about playing the music, but how to deal with the club owner and how to get paid and how to make it into more of a connective experience than it just being you playing music and them listening, and how it becomes interactive, you know, and he taught us all. And he just passed away in 2020. He was 90. He was still playing. He was still, you know, as vital as he had ever been. But him bringing us up, now it's kind of time for me to pay it forward the same way I was brought up now, because FreeWorld's always been a school. And the really great thing about horn players, anyway, my saxophone player, Peter Climby, is like he's my lieutenant. He's first in command of the band, and the horn section is his baby. And our entire gig he has it all uploaded on iPad. And most horn players don't start off playing in garage bands. They start off in grade school or high school. They start off in marching band, you know, so they can all read music. So if you can read music, you can get on stage with FreeWorld and you've got an iPad in front of you and your sight reading skills are even reasonable, you can hang. And then you sort of find out what it's all about. It's not just about playing these notes on this paper in front of you, the iPad. It's about, as my trumpet player just told me just the other day, he said, my job is to play something, to plant something in these people's hearts, minds, and souls that will live with them forever. You know, and so these kids who have learned how to play, learned how to be in a marching band and the pep rallies and all that stuff, now they're on Beale Street in front of people from literally every country in the world.
Most continents on the planet, actually.
Yes.
Australia, I mean, you name it, they're there.
We have had as many as 6 continents represented in the room at the same time at Rumble.
Really?
I mean, it's like
really?
a microcosm of the entire world. And you got these kids that are anywhere from 16 to 21 that are, you know, saucer-eyed, freaking out, you know, but going to school and learning and getting experience and finding their way in a way that's you know, it's all necessary. You need to be in the classroom. You need to have a teacher. You need to be in the practice room. You need to be in the pep band. But there's no, you can't approximate playing on Beale Street being in school. That's something you really have to go out and do. And the fact that our band sort of gives that opportunity to these young kids, the same opportunity that I was given back when I'm the principal of the school now, but at one point I was in kindergarten there, and it's a really, not many places, not many professions these days, I think, do the apprentice thing anymore. You have to go online, you have to take some courses, you have to get certified. You know, it's not the way it used to be back in the day when you would decide you wanted to be an electrician and hang out with some electrician dudes for 20 years until they finally said, okay, you can do it yourself. But music is one of those things that still you can be apprenticed, and we pride ourselves in providing that opportunity for these youngsters.
I had an old school veterinarian in Little Rock, great guy, and I said, you know, how did you get started in this? And he said, I went up to an old veterinarian one day, and he said, I think I'd like to become a veterinarian one day. And he said, you know, what school should I go to and whatever. He said, shut up, son, pick up that bag.
Right.
He said, I picked up this bag full of veterinarian skill, you know, saws and hatchets and, you know, everything you could imagine, you know, any kind of surgical tool or whatever. And he said, must have weighed 50 pounds. And he said, or more. And he said, follow me, son. And he said, for the next 3 years, I followed that man. And he said, when I went into veterinarian school, he said, I literally aced every question that they put in front of me. He said, there's no substitute. There is no substitute. And I loved your story, Rich. And was it Dr. Green? Is that who you said?
Dr. Herman Green. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And how to deal with the club owners, how to get paid. That seems to be important eventually, doesn't it?
You think? I got a boy in law school in Little Rock and another boy in college in Chattanooga. So getting paid, Mama likes that. Mama likes getting paid.
Well, let's talk about, and there was so much to talk about, and I'm so excited to get on with you. Thank you so much for being with us today, Rich.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
It's a delight. And really what I wanted to come back to real quick is, you know, we have a lot of immigrants. We have a lot of people coming from California, Texas, Dallas, Tulsa, all over the U.S. are coming to this beautiful little quiet piece of heaven that we've got here because it's quiet, it's safe, it's relaxing, it's, you know, it's low stress. All that to say, well, sometimes we like to party. Sometimes we like to just have a good time or go watch other people party. Well, maybe I don't want to drive 5.5 hours back to Dallas. Maybe I don't want to fight the Dallas traffic. Well, it's only 3 hours from the East Gate to downtown Beale Street, which, Rich, if you would, and I want to go through the FreeWorld, where FreeWorld plays every night, but I do want to come back in. Give me some history on Beale Street for those that don't know. What is Beale Street? How did it come around?
Beale Street, as we sort of know it today, started in the late 1800s, and it was back then basically known as Black Main Street. Mm-hmm. So when things were obviously segregated until, frankly, not that too long ago. But so when the sharecroppers from Mississippi and Arkansas wanted to come to Memphis, they couldn't go to Main Street. They couldn't shop in the places every place else could shop. They came to Beale Street, and there were grocery stores and eye doctors and dentists and pawn shops and everything you needed, everything anybody could need from that demographic they could find on Beale Street. But then at night, it became, it was bawdy. There were bars, there were restaurants, there was music, there was gambling, there was prostitution, there was murder, there was,
all the big ones, all the
fun ones. W.C. Handy got his start there. The father of the blues. He sat at Pee Wee's Saloon and wrote out the first, blues as a music. And I saw a documentary a while back. If you go to Mali in Africa, there are people playing the blues. It's almost like an exact, you listen to these people in these small communities in Mali, and they're playing the blues. So it obviously was imported to Mississippi through the tragedy of slavery. And but the music, they kept alive in the fields when they were picking the cotton, and in their Saturday and Sunday night parties, they played the music that they brought here with them, and it grew and it expanded and it found a home on Beale Street. And you see, there have been so many great, fantastic musicians that have either began their career on Beale Street or came from, the North Mississippi Hill Country and came through Memphis and then maybe moved on up. The Memphis, back in those days, the music was primarily acoustic, but then it moved the jug bands and all that. Well, then the blues moved up the river to Chicago and became electrified. And you had people like, Muddy Waters, who started in Mississippi, came through Memphis, went to Chicago. And also the thing about Beale Street is that, most cities have a thing. Seattle has grunge and Athens has alternative, and but Memphis has redefined itself over and over again. It was a jug band place. It was a contemporary or traditional blues type place. Then it was an R&B and soul place, and then it was a rock place, and then it's a rap place. It constantly, but there's a certain thing about Memphis, the grittiness and the grindiness and the melting pot of it. The fact that we pulled together, rock and basically the cradle of Western musical civilization came from Beale Street. Mm-hmm. The combination of the country music and the blues music and the gospel music and the rockabilly music all came together. Elvis used to go down to Beale Street, and hide in the back and listen to these cats. And that's where he got his thing, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Beale Street has been the place that people go to party, to experience. And, people come there from all over the world every day looking for a certain thing. They want to get the blues. They want the R&B. They want the soul. They want the history of Memphis. They want to feel something. They don't necessarily want to hear anything played, like it is on a record. They want you to touch them. They want you to feel. They want to feel something from the musicians, and that's we as a band, because Herman mentored us. I know what that means. I know how to do that. We know how to take the music that we're playing and infuse it with ourselves and make it not so much a jukebox, but more of something that we've amalgamated everything that, as Herman used to say, combinate. We need to combinate. You combine all the things that yourself and your schooling and your life and everything, and put it into the music that you play. And like I said, as Will Palladino just told me the other day, he wants to play something that will live in somebody else's soul for the rest of their life. And that's
And I tell you what, if you want to hear it, Rum Boogie's many of the other places you play, just fantastic music. And let me do the 5 Mile High view just for a moment. For hell, a 500 feet view. Peabody, the Peabody world class hotel, gorgeous, right across from the Rendezvous. What's the guy's name? The Rendezvous. I'm trying to.
Charlie Burgos
Rendezvous. And for those of you to put it all in kind of in perspective, Justin Timberlake eats there. He loves it. It's an amalgamation of everything. And what are we, maybe 3 blocks back and you're back on Beale Street?
Yeah, maybe.
And I wish people understood, say, well, I'm more the Elvis type, or I'm more the rock and roll type. It wouldn't exist if it hadn't been for Beale Street. There would be no such thing.
That's true.
It all had to come together. Hot spots that I want to mention real quick, and then I want to get back to this. The Sun Record Studio is an amazing, amazing tour. They have stuff, oh my God, they have stuff you will never see anywhere else. They have the mixing console from the original studio. They have the amplifier that Ike Turner busted out and made that buzzy sound.
The first distortion. Yeah. The
first distortion, which, we don't know what an electric guitar sounds like beyond that these days without the distortion, right? Stax recording studio, that museum is world class. And there's a Stax music center. What do they do there? I'm not familiar.
So not only is it the Stax Museum of American Soul Music there, and which goes through not just all of Memphis, but it also includes Detroit and Muscle Shoals and Philadelphia. It's a museum of soul. It primarily focuses on Memphis, but it touches on a little bit of all of it. But it's also the Stax Music Academy. There's a school there that the local children from that general area in Memphis can have a place to go and to study it. It's a charter school, and so the kids get music in addition to regular, normal education. They get music education as well, and of course with all the history there and all of the former stars that are still alive that pop in there all the time and play with these kids and give them that experience. I mean, Stax is just it. At one point they tore it down. And they built it back up and built it better and made it authentic, but also, it's a charter school. It's badass.
It's remarkable. It really is. And to as a audio guy, to walk into the Stax Museum and go, oh my Lord, this is the voice of the theater speakers they used as monitors. Right. Yep. This is the original mixing console. This is oh my Lord. You're telling me Booker T and the MGs sat by this board and oh my God.
That's right.
It's royalty, if you know what I mean, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me, and I want to come back to FreeWorld, all around Memphis. Tell me where you play again, and we'll have the linkings here below. But where does it go?
So FreeWorld plays every Friday and Saturday night at Rum Boogie Cafe. We're the weekend house band there. And then we play every Sunday night and have since 1991 at Blue City Cafe, which is right up the street across from BD's. Mm-hmm. And then I also we play at Rum Boogie as a trio on Wednesdays. That's the FreeWorld, not FreeWorld. It's FreeWorld.
Not the FreeWorld, but the FreeWorld.
And then we do FreeWorld up the street at the new Ghost River Brewery, which is a fantastic oasis. Oh, it's great.
It's awesome.
Saturday afternoon, I do a duo gig at Central Barbecue downtown next to the Civil Rights Museum.
Oh, what kind of gig?
Does an acoustic duo.
A zero gig.
A duo gig. I'm sorry. I thought zero. Is that like a completely acoustic? What is that? Yeah. Okay. And then Sunday morning I play in my church. So it's I play 7 gigs a week, and they're all good and they're all fun. They're different music. It's what we do on Sunday nights at Blue City is not the same thing we do on Friday and Saturday nights at Rum Boogie. We try to mix up what we do, keep it fresh, and of course, as you saw. We there's a core to our band, but there's also, you never know who's going to show up and play with us. Kids or alumnus from the band over the years, or folks that are in town for something else. If you ask anybody, especially because, like I said, we've been at Blue Cities on Sunday night since '91. That's 32 years. You come to Memphis and you ask any hotel concierge, you ask any restaurant, your waitress, it's Sunday evening. Where do I go? What do I do tonight for fun? Blue City, FreeWorld, Sunday night. Go. Just trust me. Just go.
It's those fly-by-nighters that have only been there 31 years. They'll probably flake out next week. Who knows, right?
If they haven't figured it out by now.
Yeah, I hadn't figured it out by now. But I got to say, to give them their due, and I'm trying to remember, we had Mr. 88 Keys. We were there Monday and Tuesday night. And who's the guy and his brother is, I want to say Jason, but it's not. Who's at Rum Boogie Monday and Tuesday?
It's place the harmonica guy.
Yeah. And they said they're the Plantation Outlaws, or
Vince Johnson and the Plantation All Stars.
Okay, so Vince Johnson and Plantation All Stars. His brother is Alex Johnson, I think.
He has a bunch of brothers. I don't know.
Yeah. He plays the bass, and they had Mr. 88 Keys on.
Well, that's Jeremy Powell. Jeremy Powell.
Oh my Lord!
He also plays with Southern Avenue.
Really?
No, check them out. Yeah.
We walked in on a Monday night and we were like, well, maybe there'll be a band, maybe it'll be okay, maybe whatever. Oh dear Lord Almighty! Anyway,
Rum Boogie.
Yeah, you Rum Boogie. It's awesome.
7 nights a week. World class music, 7 nights a week.
Where it is, and I've tried to show people, Lindsey Buckingham's signature on guitars and Moody Blues and fill in the blank. I mean, it's the bomb. But all that to say, and apparently you play music 7 days a week. What do you do in your spare time? I'm just confused. Help me.
I'm a research scientist. I work in an Alzheimer's research lab during the day. Right now, I'm at work. I had to slip off and hide out in this lovely mechanical room so I could.
It's okay. They'll never know. They'll never. Yeah. They won't know. No. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. Well, Rich, what would you tell people? And I don't even know where to begin. I could go another hour, or I could stop here. But what would you tell people that have never been to Beale Street? What would you tell them?
Well, you can catch world-class music on Beale Street in a variety of venues 7 nights a week. So if you're into music, that's obvious. If you love food, there's any place you go up in Night Street, a lot of them have their own specialties. Blue City Cafe, the best meal on Beale, like you were talking about the gumbo and the etouffee at King's Palace. Anywhere you go, you're going to get good food. You're going to get good music, and for the most part, you get people from all over the world there. You're going to meet all kinds of folks, and again, that's also 7 nights a week. There are people from all over the world there. There's sometimes big buses full of Australians that all come into the club. Hey, or a bunch of folks from Japan, or you never know who you're going to bump into. You make friends, you drink, you eat some food, you listen to some music, you dance, you have a good time. 7 nights a week, and also there's a bunch of history up and down the street. If you look down in the sidewalk, there are these brass notes, and I actually I sit on the committee that the Beale Street Walk of Fame Brass Note Committee, and if you just gander down and start paying attention to these brass notes in the street, they're everybody and anybody. There's still I think there's 100, almost 200 in the street as we speak, and a bunch more that are still on our nominees list that will make it eventually. And they go everywhere from the old jug bands from the 1920s to Justin Timberlake to and it's not just musicians, it's some of the club owners, it's some of the politicians that help, it's sound engineers, it's a broad cross section of everyone that has made Beale Street what it is today. And if you're coming to Memphis and you miss Beale Street, you missed it. You
went to the wrong place.
You went. There's a lot of other good places to go, but for me, that's really the heart of Memphis.
I have to say, for me at Beale Street, it's an incredible sense of history, people, culture. The kids that do the acrobatics that bounce down the street during the day, whatever.
The flippers, Beale Street flippers.
The flippers, and they basically just take up tips. But I got to tell you, for me, as a guy who's been a singer, been in music, done all that fun stuff, sitting, 8 to 10 feet away from 3 great horns, an incredible bassist, unbelievable singers, unbelievable keyboard. If you've never, and I know a lot of people, and I'm not exaggerating here, Richie, you and I have done this for years and years. We're familiar with this. A lot of people don't experience live music unless it's, and I mean live, not really on, not a big screen or whatever, but live music is 30, 50, 80 feet away. When you can reach out and touch the band, it sounds different. It feels different. It has a different groove. Would you agree? Absolutely. And also when you go to a major concert arena to hear music, that's for the most part, that's a show, and we're having fun.
bunch of this, not Madison Square Garden, it's Rum Boogie, and we like to interact with the crowd, and we crack. I often joke that sometimes at sports events they'll mic somebody up on the field. If you can mic up the band and hear some of the stuff we say to each other, it would make the show that much better.
Well, let's come back to that once more. I have a friend here who's a music minister here at one of the churches, and we had a conversation on camera the other day, just a general conversation. But we talked about, this church runs 250. It's not a big church in any way. Nice folks, wonderful folks. But everybody has their in-ear monitoring, and they all got their click track, and the song is going to be this long. And that's it. It's not going to go one measure more longer. It's not going to do anything else because we have a click track.
Right.
I don't even want to say that's live music because it's so scripted. Rich, you can't turn to the crowd. Okay, we'll hit it again. We'll do verse 2 again and the chorus again.
Right.
You can't do that. In modern worship churches, you can't do that because you just got this many clicks and this many tracks. I'm old enough, you are too, I suspect. I remember when we would see at the movies, it would say held over. You can't do that
right
anymore.
Well, let me tell you,
sure.
The church I play in every Sunday, it's called Heart Song Church. It's out in Cordova. And the moniker of the church is the flock that rocks. and we are the Lord's most dangerous band. And there is no in-ear and there's no click track. And we go, no telling where we're going to go. It's about half of FreeWorld and some congregants and some other folks. And if you ever been to a church and want to feel something, you come to Heart Song. I got that.
Can I confess that I've watched a couple of sermons there already? He's great. That's an excellent. He is stunningly good. One of my favorite quotes was, and one of the more recent sermons that's up. He said, if you're watching this and you're listening to this sermon and you feel guilty, that's on you because I'm not doing that.
I like it.
Great guy. And I tell you what, Rich, I literally met you in the men's bathroom and said, hey, would you be on my show? And you have been extraordinarily gracious. I cannot thank you enough, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Dennis. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. I got news for you. We're coming back to see you on Beale Street at Rum Boogie, okay?
You come find me any Friday or Saturday or Sunday. You come find us.
Thanks you, buddy. Hey, from Hot Springs Village Inside Out, I'm Dennis Simpson. He's Richard Cushing. We'll see you in the men's room. Bye, buddy.
Thanks for watching and listening to Hot Springs Village Inside Out, a weekly podcast starring Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. Visit the website at hotspringsvillageinsideout.com.